You will spend your entire life chasing money and never catching it. Not because you lack talent. Not because the world is against you. But because you were taught the wrong rules. The rules of the masses. The rules designed to keep you comfortable, obedient, and perpetually dependent. There are other rules. Whispered in counting houses. Practiced in silence by those who shape markets while you sleep. Machiavelli understood that wealth is not earned through virtue. It is seized through strategy. And those who refuse to learn this die poor, convinced they were noble. If you have ever felt that invisible ceiling above your head, that quiet suspicion that others know something you do not, then stay. What follows is not motivation. It is revelation. But before we enter, a question. Are you ready to abandon the fairy tales? If so, subscribe now. Because this knowledge is not repeated. It is whispered once. And those who miss it will spend years wondering why they are still standing in the same place. Let us begin. Most people think wealth is a reward. A prize given to the hardest worker, the kindest soul, the most educated mind. This is a beautiful lie. Wealth is not a reward. It is a territory. And territories are not granted. They are taken, held, defended. Machiavelli never wrote about money directly, yet every principle he carved into The Prince applies to wealth with brutal precision. Because power and wealth are twins. One cannot exist without the other. And both bow to the same laws. Laws that the masses never learn. You were raised to believe in fairness, in meritocracy, in the goodness of incremental progress. Meanwhile, a smaller group was raised on different texts, different whispers. They learned that wealth flows not to the deserving, but to the strategic. Not to the loudest, but to the most patient. Not to the hopeful, but to the prepared. And while you were taught to wait your turn, they were taught to create the game itself. This is not about morality. Morality is a luxury of the wealthy. This is about reality. The reality that your poverty is not an accident. It is a design. And until you see the architecture of that design, you will remain its faithful servant. So here is the first question you must answer silently, right now, in the privacy of your own mind. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be rich? Because you cannot have both. Not in the beginning. The rules that follow will disturb you. They will contradict everything you were told by people who themselves never escaped. But they are true. And truth, however cold, is the only foundation worth building on. What you are about to hear are 10 rules. 10 principles that separate the perpetually broke from the effortlessly wealthy. Not tips. Not hacks. Rules. Cold. Ancient. Inarguable. Each one will be demonstrated. Each one will cut away a piece of the illusion you have been living inside. And if you make it to the end, you will not be the same person who started. But most will not make it. Most will feel the discomfort of cognitive dissonance and leave. That is fine. These rules are not for everyone. They are for the few who are tired of pretending. The few who would rather face an ugly truth than cling to a beautiful lie. Now, let us see if you are one of them. Rule 1: the illusion of hard work. You have been lied to about effort. Told that if you work hard enough, long enough, success will find you. This is the most expensive lie you will ever believe. Hard work does not create wealth. It creates exhaustion. Look around. The hardest workers you know are not the richest. They are the most tired, the most loyal, the most replaceable. They break their backs for decades and retire with nothing but a watch and a pension that dissolves in inflation. Meanwhile, others work less, earn more, and sleep soundly. Why? Because they understand the difference between effort and leverage. Machiavelli observed that the prince who tries to do everything himself will be overthrown by the prince who knows how to delegate, manipulate, and multiply force. Wealth operates identically. The broke person sells hours. The rich person sells systems. The broke person is the system. The rich person owns it. This is not about being lazy. It is about being intelligent. It is about understanding that your time, your body, your energy are finite. And anything finite cannot produce infinite returns. The moment you trade your time for money, you have capped your potential. Because there are only so many hours. Only so much energy. You are not scaling. You are surviving. And survival is not wealth. Survival is a slow burnout with a paycheck attached. Here is the trap. Society glorifies the hard worker, celebrates the grind, worships the martyr who sacrifices health, family, peace for a company that will replace them within a week of their funeral. You are conditioned to feel guilt when you rest, shame when you strategize instead of sweat. This conditioning is not accidental. It is necessary. Because if you ever stopped grinding long enough to think, you would realize you are running on a treadmill. Motion without progress. Effort without equity. The wealthy do not grind. They position. They do not outwork. They outthink. They ask a different question. Not how hard can I work, but how valuable can I become? Not how many hours can I give, but how many people can I reach with a single action? This is leverage. And leverage is the engine of all wealth. Consider the laborer and the landlord. The laborer works 12 hours to afford rent. The landlord sleeps while the laborer pays him. Who worked harder? The laborer. Who became wealthier? The landlord. This is not unfair. It is structural. The laborer sold time. The landlord sold access to an asset. One is finite. The other is repeatable. One scales. The other does not. You must stop measuring your worth by how tired you are at the end of the day. Exhaustion is not a badge of honor. It is a symptom of misallocated energy. If you are tired and still broke, you are not working hard. You are working wrong. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped trying to outwork everyone and started trying to outposition them? What if the goal was not to be the hardest worker in the room, but the most leveraged? What if rest was not laziness, but strategy? Write your answer in the comments. Tell me the one thing you are working hard on right now that does not scale. Let us see if you are brave enough to name it. Because until you can see your own treadmill, you will never step off it. Rule 2: never reveal your full hand. The broke reveal everything. Their plans, their progress, their fears, their income, their next move. They post it, announce it, celebrate it before it is complete. This is financial suicide. Machiavelli warned that a prince must never let his enemies know his full strength, his true resources, or his next maneuver. The same applies to wealth. The moment you reveal your hand, you invite envy, sabotage, and miscalculation. Silence is not secrecy. It is strategy. The wealthy move quietly. They build in private. They negotiate behind closed doors. They let results speak only after the deal is done, the account is full, the asset is acquired. The broke do the opposite. They announce the business before the LLC is filed. They celebrate the idea before the execution. They confuse intention with achievement and wonder why nothing manifests. There is a reason for this. Announcing your goals feels like progress. It triggers the same dopamine hit as actual achievement. Your brain rewards you for the declaration, and you lose the hunger to execute. Psychologically, you have already won. So you stop. You plateau. You wait for applause that never turns into capital. Meanwhile, the silent ones are compounding. Revealing your plans also invites interference. Doubt from family. Competition from peers. Mockery from those who need you to stay small so they feel big. Every time you speak your vision to someone not aligned with it, you dilute your conviction. You open yourself to questions you are not ready to answer. You defend instead of build. You explain instead of execute. The Medici family did not announce their loans. The Rothschilds did not broadcast their strategies. They moved in shadows, struck in silence, and revealed themselves only once victory was inevitable. By the time their competitors understood what had happened, it was already too late to respond. This is the rhythm of power. And power, remember, is inseparable from wealth. Here is what you must do. Stop posting your goals. Stop telling people what you are working on unless they are directly involved in its success. Stop celebrating milestones that have not yet produced results. Replace announcement with action. Replace validation with execution. Let your bank account be your scoreboard, not your social media. This does not mean you become paranoid or isolated. It means you become selective. You share your vision only with those who can enhance it. You reveal your progress only when it serves a strategic purpose. You speak when silence costs you, and stay quiet when speaking costs you. The broke need cheerleaders. The wealthy need collaborators. Cheerleaders make you feel good. Collaborators make you rich. Know the difference. And here is the test. Right now, think of one financial goal you have told too many people about. One plan you announced too early. One move you celebrated before it paid off. Do you see how that announcement changed nothing? How the excitement faded and the work still remained? Drop a comment. Tell me one thing you are going to stop talking about and start building in silence. Let us see who is serious. Because the market does not reward announcements. It rewards arrivals. Rule 3: exploit timing, not talent. Talent is common. Timing is rare. The world is filled with brilliant people who die broke. Talented artists, inventors, visionaries who never saw a dime. Why? Because they mastered their craft but ignored the market. They perfected the product but missed the moment. Machiavelli understood that fortune, favors not the virtuous but the prepared. The prince who acts when the moment is ripe conquers. The prince who hesitates, no matter how skilled, is conquered. Wealth is not about being the best. It is about being ready when the opportunity opens. And opportunity does not announce itself. It whispers. It appears in disruption, in crisis, in the gap between what was and what is becoming. Those who are watching, who are liquid, who are positioned, they seize it. Those who are perfecting, who are waiting to be ready, who are polishing their skills, they miss it. The masses wait for permission. Wait to be discovered. Wait until they feel prepared. But preparation is a moving target. You will never feel ready. And by the time you do, the moment has passed. Someone less talented but more bold has already taken the position you were theorizing about. This is why the wealthy study cycles, market cycles, cultural cycles, technological cycles. They do not ask if they are good enough. They ask if the timing is right. They do not wait for certainty. They move on probability. And they understand that the cost of a missed opportunity is always greater than the cost of a failed attempt. Consider every major fortune in the last century. Rockefeller and oil. Carnegie and steel. Bezos and the internet. Musk and electric vehicles. None of them were the most talented in their field. But all of them saw a wave forming and paddled early. They did not wait for the wave to be perfect. They rode it while others were still debating whether it was real. You are living in a moment right now. A gap between the old economy and the new. Between old systems and emerging ones. The question is not whether you are talented enough to capitalize. The question is whether you are aware enough to see it and bold enough to move. Most people are not. Most are so buried in their routines, their jobs, their distractions, that they do not even see the wave until it has already crashed. By the time they hear about the opportunity, it is already crowded, already expensive, already too late. Here is what the broke do. They wait for proof, wait for case studies, wait for someone else to succeed first so they feel safe. But safety is the graveyard of wealth. By the time something is safe, it is saturated. By the time everyone agrees it is a good idea, the margins have collapsed. The wealthy move differently. They enter early. They tolerate uncertainty. They act on pattern recognition, not proof. And yes, they fail more often. But they also win bigger. Because the early mover captures the premium. The late mover fights for scraps. So stop asking if you are good enough. Start asking if the moment is now. Stop waiting to be ready. Start moving while you are afraid. Because fear in the presence of opportunity is not a stop sign. It is a signal. It means you are on the edge of something that could change everything. And if you are waiting for someone to tell you it is time, you have already missed it. Think about it. What is the one opportunity in front of you right now that you are ignoring because you do not feel ready? What is the thing you know you should move on, but you are waiting for more certainty, more skill, more confirmation? Comment below. Let me know what you are hesitating on. Because I guarantee someone else is not. And the distance between you and wealth might just be one decision you are too afraid to make. Rule 4: become irreplaceable, not impressive. Impressive people are a dime a dozen. Degrees, certifications, titles, accolades. The world is drowning in impressive people who cannot pay rent. Why? Because impressive is subjective. Replaceable is structural. If you can be swapped out, you will be. If you can be automated, outsourced, or replicated, your value is temporary. Machiavelli knew that the prince who depends on the loyalty of others without securing their need for him will be abandoned the moment it is convenient. Your wealth is tied directly to how difficult you are to replace. This is not about being difficult to work with. It is about being essential. It is about controlling a skill, a relationship, a resource, an insight that others depend on but cannot replicate. The more unique your position, the more you can charge. The more integrated you are into the success of others, the more secure your income. The broke try to be liked. The wealthy try to be needed. Likability is fragile. It shifts with moods, trends, politics. Need is structural. It persists regardless of how people feel about you. You do not need to be loved. You need to be necessary. Here is the shift. Stop trying to do what everyone else does, just better. Start doing what no one else can do, or what no one else is willing to do. Find the intersection of high value and low competition. That is where irreplaceability lives. This could be a skill, a network, a reputation, a process, a unique combination of expertise that does not exist elsewhere. It does not matter what it is. What matters is that it is yours, that it cannot be easily taught, transferred, or duplicated. Consider the consultant versus the employee. The employee is part of a system. The consultant is the system. The employee can be fired and replaced by next quarter. The consultant is called back because no one else can solve the problem the way they do. One is a cog. The other is a key. Now, how do you become irreplaceable? You stop competing in crowded markets. You stop trying to be the best at what everyone is already doing. Instead, you find the gaps, the underserved niches, the problems people are willing to pay to solve but no one is solving well. You go where others will not. You learn what others avoid. You build what others think is too hard. This requires sacrifice. It requires you to ignore trends and focus on fundamentals. It requires you to be patient while others chase quick wins. But the payoff is permanent. Because once you are irreplaceable, you set the terms. You name the price. You choose the clients. You are no longer competing. You are monopolizing. The broke are always in competition. Always comparing. Always trying to prove they are better than the next person. The wealthy have no competitors. They operate in categories of one. They are not better. They are different. And different, when it is valuable, is priceless. So ask yourself right now, if you disappeared tomorrow, what would stop? What would break? What would people struggle to replace? If the answer is nothing, you are not irreplaceable. You are convenient. And convenience is a race to the bottom. Your mission is not to be the hardest worker, not to be the most impressive. It is to be the most essential. To integrate yourself so deeply into the success of others that removing you would cost them more than keeping you. This is not arrogance. It is architecture. You are building a position, not a resume. Tell me in the comments, what is the one thing you do that no one else in your field does quite like you? If you cannot answer that, you have just identified your problem. Because if you are replaceable, you will be replaced. It is not personal. It is structural. Rule 5: debt is a weapon, not a disease. The poor fear debt. The middle class avoids it. The wealthy wield it. This is one of the most profound divides between those who build empires and those who build credit scores. Debt, in the hands of the ignorant, is a trap. In the hands of the strategic, it is a lever. Machiavelli advised that a prince should never deplete his own resources when he can use the resources of others to expand his power. Debt is simply that. Using other people's money to multiply your own position. But you were taught to fear it. Taught that all debt is bad. That borrowing is irresponsible. That you should only spend what you have. This is advice designed to keep you small, safe, irrelevant. Because the person who only uses their own money can only grow as fast as they save. And saving, in an inflationary world, is a slow path to nowhere. The wealthy do not save their way to wealth. They borrow their way to assets. They use leverage to acquire what they could not afford with cash. Real estate, businesses, inventory, investments. And then they let those assets generate the income to service the debt and produce profit. The debt is not a burden. It is a tool. Here is the distinction you must understand. There is consumer debt, and there is strategic debt. Consumer debt buys liabilities. Things that lose value. Cars, clothes, vacations, gadgets. This debt makes you poorer. It extracts wealth and gives you nothing in return but temporary pleasure and long-term regret. This is the debt you were warned about. And the warning was correct. But strategic debt buys assets. Things that generate cash flow, appreciate, produce income. This debt makes you richer. Because the asset pays for the debt, and eventually pays you. The risk is not in the debt itself. The risk is in what you buy with it. The broke use debt to look rich. The wealthy use debt to become rich. One is pretending. The other is compounding. And the difference is everything. Now, this requires knowledge. You cannot wield debt without understanding terms, interest, cash flow, and risk. You cannot borrow blindly and expect wealth. But you also cannot refuse to borrow and expect scale. The middle path is cowardice. You must choose. Stay small and safe, or grow with calculated risk. Machiavelli also warned that the prince must never become so indebted that he loses autonomy. Debt must serve you, not own you. This means you borrow only when the asset produces more than the cost of the debt. You borrow only when you have a plan to service and retire it. You borrow with discipline, not desperation. The wealthy understand something the poor do not. Money has a time value. $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. Because today's dollar can be deployed to create more dollars. Waiting until you can afford something with cash means you lose all the income that asset could have generated in the meantime. You are not being responsible. You are being slow. This is why the rich get richer. They use leverage to move faster than their own savings would allow. They acquire, deploy, and scale while others are still stuffing money under the mattress. By the time the saver has enough to buy the asset with cash, the borrower has already bought 3, paid them off, and is living on passive income. So the question is not whether you should use debt. The question is whether you are educated enough to use it correctly. And if you are not, that is your first priority. Learn the language of leverage. Understand interest rates, cash-on-cash return, debt service coverage ratio. Learn how to analyze a deal. Because ignorance is what makes debt dangerous. Knowledge makes it powerful. Here is your assignment. Think of one asset you could acquire with leverage that would produce income. Real estate, a business, equipment, inventory, something that pays you. Now ask yourself, what is stopping you? Is it fear, lack of knowledge, or lack of courage? Comment below. Tell me what asset you would acquire if you knew how to use debt strategically. Let us see who is willing to learn and who is content to stay stuck. Because the wealthy are not smarter. They are braver. And they understand that fortune favors the leveraged. Rule 6: guard your attention like your fortune. You do not have a money problem. You have an attention problem. Your focus is fragmented. Your mind is rented out to algorithms, notifications, drama, and noise. And while you are distracted, others are compounding. Machiavelli understood that the prince who cannot control his own mind will be controlled by others. Your attention is your most valuable asset. More valuable than your time. Because time passes regardless. But attention is where energy flows. And where energy flows, results grow. The broke give their attention away for free. They scroll. They binge. They argue with strangers. They consume content that makes them feel something but builds nothing. Hours vanish into the void. Days disappear. Years evaporate. And at the end, they wonder why they have nothing to show for it. Your attention is being farmed, harvested, sold. Every app, every platform, every notification is designed to extract your focus and convert it into someone else's profit. You are not the customer. You are the product. And while you are busy being entertained, the ones who own your attention are becoming wealthy. The wealthy guard their attention viciously. They decide in advance what deserves their focus. They allocate it intentionally. They say no to almost everything so they can say yes to the one thing that matters. They do not react. They do not get pulled into every controversy, every trend, every shiny object. They are monastic in their focus. And that focus compounds into fortune. Here is the truth. You cannot build wealth while your mind is scattered. You cannot execute strategy while you are drowning in distraction. You cannot think clearly when your attention is being hijacked every 3 minutes. Wealth requires depth. Depth requires sustained focus. And sustained focus requires that you become unreachable. This is not about discipline. It is about design. You must design your environment to protect your attention. Remove the apps. Silence the notifications. Create barriers between you and distraction. Schedule your focus like you schedule meetings. Treat it as sacred, because it is. Consider the difference between shallow work and deep work. Shallow work is reactive. Emails, messages, meetings, tasks that feel productive but produce nothing of lasting value. Deep work is creative, strategic, generative. It is where breakthroughs happen, where wealth is designed. And deep work requires uninterrupted attention. The broke spend their days in shallow work, busy but not productive. The wealthy spend their days in deep work, silent but compounding. One is motion, the other is progress. Now ask yourself, how many hours today did you spend in deep work? How many hours did you spend building something that will pay you a year from now? Versus how many hours did you spend consuming, reacting, scrolling, and numbing? If you are honest, the ratio is painful. And that ratio is why you are not where you want to be. Not because you lack talent, not because you lack opportunity, but because you lack focus. Here is the shift. Every morning, before you touch your phone, decide what the one essential task is. The one thing that, if completed, would make today a success. Then protect the time to do that thing. Do not check email. Do not scroll. Do not let the world in until the work is done. This is how you reclaim your attention. This is how you redirect your energy from consumption to creation. And when you do this consistently, you will notice something strange. You will start to pull ahead. Not because you are working more hours, but because your hours are focused, concentrated, amplified. You will produce in 3 focused hours what others cannot produce in 3 distracted days. The wealthy do not have more time than you. They have more focus. And focus is the ultimate force multiplier. So here is the challenge. For the next 7 days, track your attention. Write down every hour what you focused on. At the end of the week, categorize it. How much was deep work? How much was shallow? How much was waste? Then comment below. Tell me what you discovered. Tell me where your attention is leaking. Because once you see the leak, you can plug it. And once you plug it, you will finally have the energy to build what you have been dreaming about. Rule 7: relationships are currency. You do not get rich alone. Every fortune is built on a network. Clients, partners, mentors, investors, allies. The broke think wealth is about what you know. The wealthy know it is about who you know. More precisely, who knows you. Who trusts you? Who thinks of you when opportunity appears? Machiavelli devoted entire chapters to alliances. He knew that power is relational, that the prince without allies is vulnerable. That influence is built not through strength alone, but through strategic relationships. Your network is your net worth. This is not a cliché. It is a formula. The quality of your relationships determines the quality of your opportunities. The depth of your trust determines the size of your deals. The breadth of your network determines your access to information, capital, and leverage. But most people do not build relationships. They collect contacts. They add people on social media and call it networking. They attend events, exchange cards, and never follow up. This is not relationship building. This is performance. And it produces nothing. A real relationship is built on value exchange. You give before you ask. You solve problems before you pitch. You become useful, reliable, and trustworthy over time. And then, when you need something, you do not have to beg. You simply ask. And the answer is yes. Because you have already deposited value. The broke see relationships as transactional. What can I get? The wealthy see them as relational. What can I give? One is extraction. The other is investment. And only one compounds. Here is the distinction. Transactional relationships are shallow and temporary. They last as long as the benefit lasts. The moment you stop being useful, you are discarded. Relational relationships are deep and durable. They survive seasons. They weather conflict. They grow stronger over time. And they produce returns for decades. Now, this does not mean you become a servant. It means you become strategic. You identify the people who are moving in the direction you want to go. You study what they need. And you provide it. Not for immediate return, but for relational equity. You are building a bank account of goodwill. And when the time comes, you withdraw. Machiavelli also warned that the prince must choose his allies carefully. Not everyone is worth aligning with. Some relationships are liabilities. They drain energy. They attract drama. They anchor you to mediocrity. You must be ruthless in pruning your network. Not cruel, but clear. Your circle must be composed of people who elevate you, challenge you, and expand you. Everyone else is a distraction. This means you will lose friends. You will outgrow circles. You will be called arrogant, distant, or cold. Let them talk. Your network is not a social club. It is a strategic asset. And assets must be managed. The wealthy also understand the power of proximity. You become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. If those 5 are broke, complainers, or dreamers without execution, you will become the same. If those 5 are builders, strategists, and winners, you will rise. Proximity is osmosis. You absorb the standards, the language, the habits of those around you. So audit your circle. Who are you spending your time with? What are they building? What do they believe? What do they tolerate? And then ask yourself, is this the circle that will take me where I want to go? If the answer is no, you have a decision to make. Loyalty to your future or loyalty to your past. You cannot have both. Here is your task. Identify 3 people who are where you want to be. Not celebrities. Not untouchables. But people within reach. Then find a way to provide value to them. A referral. A solution. An introduction. Something they actually need. Do this without asking for anything in return. Build the relationship. And watch what happens. Comment below. Tell me who those 3 people are. Or tell me what is stopping you from reaching out. Let us see if you are ready to play at the level you claim you want. Because wealth is not a solo sport. It is a team game. And your team determines your trajectory. Rule 8: comfort is the enemy. You will not build wealth from your couch. You will not break through while you are comfortable. Comfort is the slow killer. The silent thief. It convinces you that where you are is good enough. That you have earned rest. That you deserve to coast. And while you are resting, The gap between you and those who refuse to settle grows wider. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must never become soft. That ease breeds weakness. That the moment you stop preparing for war, you lose the capacity to win it. Wealth is not built in comfort. It is built in tension. In the space between where you are and where you are trying to go. In the discomfort of learning something new. In the fear of risking what you have for what you could have. In the uncertainty of a decision that could fail or could change everything. The broke seek comfort. They want the safe job, the predictable paycheck, the routine, the known. And there is nothing wrong with that, except that comfort has a price. That price is growth. You cannot be comfortable and growing at the same time. Growth requires discomfort. It requires that you do things you are not good at yet. That you enter rooms where you are the least experienced. That you fail in public. That you look foolish while you learn. The wealthy accept discomfort as the cost of expansion. They do not avoid it. They run toward it. Because they know that every breakthrough lives on the other side of comfort. Every new level requires a new version of you. And that new version is forged in fire, not in ease. Here is the trap. Comfort is addictive. Once you taste it, you want more. You start to optimize your life around avoiding discomfort. You say no to opportunities because they feel risky. You stay in jobs you have outgrown because they are familiar. You remain in relationships that no longer serve you because change is scary. You become a prisoner of your own comfort. And the cell is so pleasant, you do not even realize you are locked in. This is why lottery winners go broke. Why athletes retire and lose everything. Why people who inherit wealth squander it. Because they never developed the tolerance for discomfort. They never built the muscle to endure uncertainty. So the moment things get hard, they retreat. They go back to what feels safe. And safety, in the context of wealth, is stagnation. The antidote is simple but brutal. You must deliberately place yourself in uncomfortable situations. Regularly. Frequently. You must seek out the conversations that scare you. The projects that stretch you. The risks that make your stomach turn. Not recklessly, but strategically. You are training your nervous system to tolerate discomfort. To associate it with growth. Not danger. Machiavelli also noted that fortune favors the bold. Not the reckless. The bold. Those who see the risk, calculate it, and move anyway. Those who feel the fear and do not let it decide. This is the behavior of the wealthy. They are not fearless. They are fear-tolerant. They act in spite of fear. And that action, repeated, becomes wealth. Now, look at your life. Where have you become too comfortable? What are you avoiding because it feels hard? What opportunity are you ignoring because it requires you to be uncomfortable for a season? That thing. That is your next move. That is where your growth is hiding. And until you step into it, you will stay exactly where you are. Comment below. What is the one thing you know you need to do, but you are avoiding because it is uncomfortable? Name it. Because naming it is the first step to doing it. And doing it is the only step that matters. Rule 9: Reinvent or die. The world does not reward consistency. It rewards adaptability. What worked 5 years ago does not work today. What works today will not work tomorrow. The market shifts. Technology disrupts. Culture evolves. And those who cling to the old ways become irrelevant. Machiavelli observed that the prince who cannot adapt to changing fortune will be destroyed by it. That rigidity is death. That survival belongs to those who can read the wind and adjust the sails. You must be willing to kill your own success. To abandon what is working before it stops working. To reinvent while you are still winning. This is one of the hardest principles to embody. Because when things are going well, the instinct is to hold on. To repeat. To protect. But protection is the beginning of decline. The broke wait until they are forced to change. They lose the job. The market collapses. The client leaves. And then, in desperation, they scramble. The wealthy change while they still have leverage. While they still have options. While they can afford to experiment. They do not wait for the collapse. They anticipate it. And they are already positioned in the next wave before the current one crashes. This requires a mindset shift. You must fall in love with evolution, not arrival. You must see yourself as perpetually incomplete. Always learning. Always iterating. Always questioning whether the strategy that got you here will get you there. And when the answer is no, you must have the courage to let go. Here is the fear. If I change, I might lose what I have. If I reinvent, I might fail. If I pivot, I might look inconsistent. These fears are valid, but they are also fatal, because the cost of not changing is always greater than the cost of changing. You will lose what you have anyway. The question is whether you lose it because you were brave enough to evolve, or because you were too scared to let go. Consider Blockbuster and Netflix, Kodak and digital photography, Nokia and smartphones. Every one of these companies had the resources, the talent, the market position to adapt. But they did not. They clung to what worked. They optimized the old model while the world moved to the new. And they died. Not because they were not good, but because they were not flexible. You are no different. If you are still doing the same thing you were doing 3 years ago, you are already behind. The market has moved. Your competitors have adapted. And you are running a race that no longer exists. So how do you reinvent? You study trends. You watch what is emerging, not what is established. You listen to the edges, not the center. You test. You pilot. You run small experiments while the stakes are low. And when you find something that works, you scale. You do not abandon the old until the new is proven. But you do not wait until the old is dead to start building the new. This is the dance. 1 foot in the present. 1 foot in the future. Harvesting from what works. Investing in what is next. It is uncomfortable. It is uncertain. But it is the only way to stay relevant. Machiavelli also taught that the prince must appear consistent while being adaptable in private. You do not need to broadcast every pivot. You do not need to announce every shift. You simply move. And by the time others notice, you are already established in the new position. Now, ask yourself, what skill, industry, or model are you betting your future on? And is that bet still valid? Or are you holding on because you are afraid to start over? Starting over is not failure. It is wisdom. It is the recognition that the game has changed and only fools play by old rules. Comment below. Tell me one thing in your business or career that you know is dying, but you are still holding on to. Let us see who is ready to let go. Because the graveyard is full of people who were right, but too late. Rule 10: wealth is internal before it is external. This is the rule that no one wants to hear. Because it cannot be hacked, cannot be outsourced, cannot be faked. Wealth begins in the mind, in your identity, in the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. If you see yourself as poor, you will make poor decisions. If you see yourself as a victim, you will wait for rescue. If you see yourself as small, you will remain small. Machiavelli understood that the prince must first conquer himself before he conquers others. That self-mastery precedes external mastery. And the same is true for wealth. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you are chaotic, your money will be chaotic. If you are undisciplined, your wealth will be unstable. If you are insecure, you will sabotage every opportunity. The external world is a mirror. It reflects your internal state with ruthless accuracy. This is why people who win the lottery lose it all. Why people who get a windfall blow it. Why people who make $1 million end up back at zero. Because they never changed internally. They got the money, but they kept the mind of a broke person. And the mind always wins. The wealthy think differently. They see themselves as builders, as investors, as people who create value. And because they see themselves this way, they act accordingly. They make decisions that align with that identity. They say no to short-term pleasure because it conflicts with long-term wealth. They endure discomfort because it is what builders do. They are not pretending. They are embodying. Here is the shift. Stop trying to get rich. Start becoming the type of person who is rich. Ask yourself, what does a wealthy person do in this situation? How do they spend their time? What do they say no to? How do they handle failure? How do they negotiate? How do they rest? Then do that. Not because it will make you rich tomorrow, but because it will change your identity today. And identity, over time, becomes destiny. This also means you must heal your relationship with money. Most people have deep, hidden shame around wealth. They think it is greedy, selfish, evil. That wanting more makes them a bad person. So they sabotage. They undercharge. They avoid sales. They give away their work. They apologize for their ambition. And they stay broke while calling it humility. Humility is not poverty. Humility is knowing your worth and not needing to prove it. Greed is not ambition. Greed is hoarding without purpose. You can want wealth and still be a good person. In fact, the more wealth you have, the more good you can do. Poverty helps no one. Wealth, directed wisely, transforms lives. So you must give yourself permission. Permission to want more. Permission to charge what you are worth. Permission to build an empire. Permission to win. Without guilt. Without apology. Because the world does not need more broke martyrs. It needs more wealthy builders. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must love power more than he fears judgment. You must love wealth more than you fear criticism. People will judge you, call you greedy, question your motives. Let them. Their opinion is not your economy. Your responsibility is not to make them comfortable. It is to build what you were called to build. Now, here is the internal audit. Do you believe you deserve wealth? Do you believe it is possible for you? Or do you secretly believe that wealth is for other people? That you are not smart enough, connected enough, lucky enough? Because if you believe that, no strategy will save you. You will sabotage every win. You will stop just before the breakthrough. You will find a way to lose. Not because the world is against you, but because you are against yourself. The fix is not affirmations. It is evidence. You must prove to yourself that you can win. Start small. Set a financial goal you can achieve in 30 days. Achieve it. Then set another. Stack small wins. Build evidence. Reprogram your belief system with results. Over time, your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying to get rich. You start seeing yourself as someone who builds wealth. And once that shift happens, everything changes. Comment below. Tell me one limiting belief you have about money. One story you tell yourself that keeps you stuck. Let us see who is ready to rewrite the script. Because your wealth will never exceed your self-concept. And your self-concept is the only thing you have complete control over. You have reached the end. But this is not a conclusion. It is a threshold. On one side, the rules you were raised with. The comfort of mediocrity. The safety of the known. On the other side, the 10 rules you just heard. Cold. Demanding. Unforgiving. But true. Most will hear this and do nothing. They will nod. They will agree. They will feel inspired for an hour and then return to the same patterns. The same excuses. The same broke behaviors. And in 5 years, they will be in the same place, wondering why nothing changed. A few will hear this and move. They will pick one rule, one principle, and they will apply it. Not perfectly, but consistently. And that consistency will compound. In 5 years, they will be unrecognizable. Not because they are smarter, but because they were willing to do what others were not. The question is simple. Which one are you? Machiavelli did not write for the masses. He wrote for the prince. The one willing to see the world as it is, not as it should be. The one willing to act without the approval of the crowd. The one willing to be misunderstood in pursuit of mastery. These 10 rules are not moral. They are mechanical. They do not care about your feelings. They care about your results. And results, in the end, are the only truth that matters. You can reject them. You can call them harsh. You can prefer a softer path. But softness will not pay your bills. It will not build your empire. It will not free you from dependency. Only strategy will. Only discipline will. Only the willingness to do what is necessary, even when it is uncomfortable. So here is the final call. Subscribe if you want more. Not more motivation. More revelation. Not more hype. More truth. Because this channel does not exist to make you feel good. It exists to make you dangerous, capable, wealthy. The world does not need more consumers. It needs more creators, more builders, more people who understand that wealth is not an accident. It is an architecture. And you are the architect. If you made it this far, comment the word architect below. Let me see who was really paying attention. Let me see who is serious. Because the rules have been given. The path has been shown. What you do next is not up to me. It is up to you. And the clock is already running.